Hey guys, Chris here again. Happy December, or I guess I should say Happy DOScember. It's another one of those retro-themed months where, in this case, we talk about everything DOS. So, recently, I acquired a bunch of Compaq LTE 5000 series machines. Kind of stumbled upon them by accident. We'll talk about how. And when I got them, they were absolutely filthy, and some were in need of repair. So we'll talk about that as well. But if you can see from the title of this video, what I really want to do is build a corporate network, if you will. Since, well, if you look at these machines, these are commercial grade machines. It was businesses buying these back in the day. So we're going to do that, and we're going to do that in MS-DOS. Even though these systems are capable of running Windows, but you know, it is DOScember after all. So yeah, let's get into it. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Compaq dock, stop. Whoa, whoa, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. These are Compaq LTEs. Okay, time to stop the video and dig. Oh my.
Sounds like you found something impressive.
Something I like. In case it wasn't completely obvious, I was very excited to find these machines. I quickly went through the bin that you saw there and made a stack of the ones that I wanted. From there, I loaded them on a cart, and before long, they were in the trunk of my car. Once I got home, I put them in a wagon and then pulled them back to the back porch because these machines were not going in the house in their current state. But just in case it rained, I put a tarp over top. So where did I find these? I found them at the System Source Museum garage sale, which happened on November 8th. The laptops were going for $20 a piece, but when I expressed that I wanted to buy lots of them, I was told I could have them for $10 a piece. I did not hesitate. With the laptops acquired, it was time for the great cleanup. And you will soon see just how dirty and grody some of these laptops were. But as you can see from the first before and after that I just showed, this laptop cleaned up pretty good. But I did learn a lesson. And that lesson was not to use goof off on plastics because it can damage them. And as we can see here in one of the cases where I literally poured the goof off onto the plastic surface, it sure did. And I poured so much by accident it leaked down, and you can see it caused some damage down here as well. So I picked up a safer alternative, Goo Gone, which works pretty well. Not as well as the goof off, but good enough for what we want. And hey, if it doesn't damage the system, that's good. So we'll go through some before and after. As you can see, these machines were quite dirty, but they also cleaned up rather well with some elbow grease. That one there particularly cleaned up very nice with some magic erasers as well, and goof off and Windex. And yes, there were tons of these to clean. Again, I just wanted to show some of them. This one here was a special one in that it was covered in red paint. It turned out pretty good, but I did cheat a little bit. As we can see here, the screen was totally broken, so I didn't scrub red paint off of the screen, but I did scrub it off the other areas except for the battery, since, well, I wanted to leave a little remnant of what this machine was. With the machines cleaned and one power on complete, it was time to do some further work. One thing that I decided to attack on all of the machines was cleaning the audio wheel, and I cleaned that out by giving a spray of contact cleaner that you see here so that we could get rid of some of the static. Another item that I got to repair and review were LCD panels, and by far LCD panels were the items with the most damage. We can see this lovely one here, and the aftermath after removing the panel. I do save the hardware here. We can use the clips and bezels for other things as well as the hinges, so we will save these types of bezels as I pull the panels out. And here you can see a nice cracked panel that I pulled out of a bezel. The next item that we did some repairs on, or diagnostics, were keyboards. One common failure of these is that little mouse nub in the center. I do now have several spares, so that is good. Next, we had removable plastics like this PC card door that you see here. Several of them were either twisted or missing. This I/O cover that you see in the back, again, several missing, none broken though, surprisingly. Or a hard drive door like you see here. Also, we had to replace a couple of laptop bases. You can see this nice crack over by the hinge on the left there. I also had a few base assemblies with cracks around the fan housing. And here we have a full base assembly that we can see from the top in case you were curious as to what that looks like. Another item that requires a lot of repairs are the screen latches. Those little slider pieces that you see there, several were missing. And the latches themselves, in a lot of cases, do tend to be broken off, but we can repair them by popping open the screen and replacing them with spares. Here you can see where we have a good latch on the left. I think these are right latches, but don't hold me to it. Another common area that needs a lot of repairs or basically makes the machines less than usable are cracks in the display housing. So here we can see by the left hinge, there's a big crack that is very common on these machines. Also, cracks do tend to form around the top edge that you can see there as well. Next, we have hard drives, and I was actually surprised about how many of these tested good. This one was a little interesting. What you see here is the base circuitry of a hard drive. No idea where the rest of it went. But yes, we did indeed collect up a lot of hard drives, as you can see here. We also tested memory and fan, and the reason I group these together is with memory, we run memtest. When we run memtest long enough, the fan really kicks into high gear, so that gives us an opportunity to test that out as well. And we actually did pretty well. I did have one failure, but upon reseating the module tested out. So next I wanted to do a little Windows test. What I ended up doing is taking one of those hard drive enclosures, taking a CF card and a CF card adapter, and burning an image that I had around using Balena Etcher. To test the network, I used one of these lovely Cisco AeroNet 350 cards, and here you can see a sample test. Yes, I got very good at doing this. Basically, boot into Windows, listen for the startup chime, and do a quick ping test. I also did a quick audio test by playing a game or two on each system. Let's have a quick listen to Commander Keen. I also had a stack of opticals to test, so we gave them a test using the GCW CD that I have on hand, and I was very pleased to see that all of the opticals passed the test, so that was exciting. Another thing I did was I wanted all of the systems to have the BIOS 7.20 since it is the best BIOS available. So after doing a mem test, of course, I upgraded the BIOS using a compact ROM pack on every system. I was very happy to have a lot of successful testing. It brought a smile to my face every single time a machine started up. I did have a favorite failure, however, and it would be this one here. This looks like a motherboard with bad video memory. Oh well, this motherboard went in the scrap heap. So with everything cleaned and tested, let's talk about where we ended up. I purchased somewhere around, I want to say 26 machines, and I've actually already sent one away. So we ended up with 19 good machines, as you see here. And lots of parts. Here are all of the parts that came from the broken systems, and here are all the bad parts that were with the broken systems. It's quite a sight to behold when you put it all together, isn't it? Here's my stack of battery packs. I actually went through them and pulled the batteries out and saved the logic boards, so these cases are now empty. Here are all of the PCM CIA cards that I pulled out of the system. Here's my stack of opticals. I did get 6 good opticals out of the system, and also one multi-bay weight saver that you see on the left. And I got lots of good floppy drives. Let's see, 3, 6, 9, 12, I believe. So I'm very excited about that. And I did have lots of screws left over, as well as display covers and sliders. You can see all of them in this little magnetic tray here. I did go through and test all of the hard drives. So here we are. Here is the list of machines, and you can see we had 19 a minute ago, and now we have 18 because, well, one of them failed in trying to swap out a base. Long story. But anyway, there are some predominant themes. The predominant theme of greatest interest, though, are the screens. We can see that screens tend to have issues, either with lines or blotches, or cracked bezels, or top covers in bad condition. Everything else you can see I've pretty much got in good shape, but the screens are kind of the Achilles heel of this repair. And yes, I do have lots of spare parts. I did catalog all of them. They are in this little list that you see here. Yeah, tons of parts. So if we need parts, we have parts. It's now time to set up the software in prep for our corporate network. And as we do that, I'm going to take you through some of the different methodologies I use for copying files to DOS systems for setup. Here's a resource that I put together. I'll put a link down in the description in case you want to see it too. So to get started, we're going to create a VM image. I'm going to create a hard disk using a VM DK file and make it a fixed size, which will be similar to the CF card, which we will later copy this to. So our virtual machine is set up. We will boot with DOS 6.22, a boot disk, so that we can run fdisk as well as format this particular disk for usage with installation of applications or what have you. So here we go, formatting the disk. And now I'm going to boot with an MS-DOS LAN manager disk that I made, which is tuned to the AMD PCNet network card that is intrinsic in VirtualBox. I've mapped to drive Z, which is my Raspberry Pi, and we're going to copy a barrage of files over so that we can have them for use on this system. And in case you're curious as to what I copied over, you can see it here. I did cheat a little bit and pull some files from previous installations, including an autoexec.bat, config sys, and completely tuned menu system for use with our system today. In case you are curious, here's the config sys that I used. I did need to put an exclusion region in for the EMM386 that you see there on line 2, as well as set up our card wizard drivers for our PCM-CIA hardware. And from there, it's a matter of configuring for our network stack using Protocol Manager, our network card driver, our TCP/IP driver, and our NEMM TCP/IP driver. And here is autoexec.bat. A little more simple, but it actually does start the network for us, as well as load a mouse driver. And also launches the menu system. So another method I like to use is virtual floppies. We're going to use that to install Lotus, since I didn't have a static cut of it around. So installing Lotus 123, swapping through the disks. I am pushing through this rather quickly, since it's not all that interesting. Setting up our graphics and the like. And before long, all files will be transferred, and we can launch Lotus in all of its glory. Perfect. Next, I'm going to install our network mail, and it actually needs to install to drive M. I'm going to install Microsoft Mail 3.5, and it expects its files or database to be on drive M. So we'll map a drive actually using a Raspberry Pi share. We're creating a new post office and giving it a directory on drive M for simplicity. I think the way this is designed is it expects you to share out on the PC that you're loading this on, but I'm cheating and using a Raspberry Pi. We give our post office a name. I'll just say mail. Give it a network. We'll say RTC. We're going to use LAN manager compatible, install our admin utilities and server agents. And we will put the server stuff in the mail exe directory. And we will install the MS-DOS client as well. And we're going to choose a different directory for that. It's kind of weird that it wants to put everything in the same directory, but anyway. From there, the post office will get created and files copied. Next up, we can run the admin utility, and we will jump in here to the admin mailbox with a password of password. And we can create, using local admin, all of our LTE post offices, since we will have 4 systems participating in our very special network. I'll get all 4 of those created, and we will be all set and ready to go. So next up, we need to install LAN Manager, but I'm going to cheat and actually use a previous copy of LAN Manager I have, tweaking a few parameters, including the network card driver, to use this Cisco AeroNet 350 We'll tweak the INI files to use drive C as opposed to drive A, since this was from my LAN manager boot disk we saw earlier. We'll copy the driver in that we need as well. And from there, we do need to adjust protocol.ini just a little bit, since this is a wireless card, and we will steal those settings from the Air 350's protocol.ini. Namely, we need to specify the SSID of our network as well as the auth type. The actual password itself is embedded on the card, and I covered that in another video. So with that, we were pretty much all set, except there is one thing that we do need to change on each system. In LANman INI, each computer has to have a unique computer name. Ask me how I know. So now that we have created this image, this VMDK file, we can use VirtualBox to take it and turn it into a raw image. And after that, we can use a tool like Balena Etcher to write it to a CF card. Now it's time for the moment of truth. I'll take the CF card and put it into a hard drive caddy that you see here. We'll put that in the machine, and we'll also put the wireless card in since we're all set to test with that. And let's power this thing on. Starting up DOS, we can see all of the CardWizard drivers load, and hooray, the network card is detected. If we go into Microsoft Mail, yes, we get access to a mailbox, which means that we are indeed connecting to the network. And once I learn how to type here, we can get in, and lo and behold, we are in Mail. Fantastic. We can test our other applications, including Lotus, which seems to load up just fine, so that is good. We can also test out Harvard Graphics. Seems to load just fine, so that is also good. And finally, we can load WordPerfect, which also works, so this gets a thumbs up. Okay, it's time to build the network. And rather than use all 18, 19 machines, we are just going to use 4. I hope you're not too disappointed. So I'm just picking one off the top of the stack here randomly. We'll see which machines these are. Ah, we got red paint. That's awesome. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put battery holders in these machines and floppy drives and hard drives. And then now you're going to see why I work at the top of the stairs. That made plug-in real easy. And next up, I'll put network cards in each of these machines so that we're all set there. And then it's going to be time to copy files to these machines. We are going to use fast links with a lap link cable to do a transfer here. So machine on the right has our data, and we can then transfer it to the machine on the left. Off it goes. This process took around 5 minutes or so. This setup was not without its perils. The system in the middle, despite being loaded twice, ended up with lots of corruption and cross-link files. So my first thought was, let's run memtest to see if this system has any failed memory. I don't show the whole process here, but it passed with flying colors, no issue there. So from there, I ran a virus scan on the image on another system and no viruses found. So that wasn't the issue either. I put a new hard drive in and all the problems went away. Okay, it's time to finally show you the corporate network I've been promising you. And we're going to start out with somebody creating a work document in WordPerfect 5.1. Here's the document you've been waiting for. Also, never end a sentence with a preposition. Thank you. We'll save the document to drive C, and then we'll exit WordPerfect, and we'll head over to Mail, and we will send this to a colleague. So popping into Mail, we can get into our mailbox, put in our password, and we can go over and compose a new message. We'll send this to Compaq LTE 3, and we can go in and select the attachment and add it, and then from there we can transmit it. Off it goes. Now if we head over to Compaq LTE 3, we can see we have the document, so we can take the attachment and we can save it. I'm going to save it to the root of the drive to make it easy to find. And from there we can exit Microsoft Mail and go into WordPerfect 5.1 and go and load the document up. Navigating to drive C, there it is. Let's retrieve it. And there it is in all of its glory. Let's let the person know that we received it and ask them where the library is at. Next, let's pop into Lotus 123. There has been a request to provide some figures, those numbers. So here's that document that has those numbers in it. Wait, those numbers literally? I think somebody's going to get really upset about this. But anyway, let's go and save this once I figure out how to save a file in 123. It's been a while. We'll get that saved, and we'll save it at the root of the drive as well with a somewhat reasonable extension. Let's add it as an attachment. You can actually select them from a drop-down and send the numbers off. So now Compaq LTE 4 is going to save off this attachment and load it up in Lotus 123. Oh boy, they don't look too happy. That's not what they wanted. And also, you should never end a sentence with a preposition. Moving on to Harvard Graphics, it's time to create a little chart here. It's going to be a pie chart of the best computers ever. And first we have, well, of course, Compaq. We have 400 of those. Then we have Dell, a 100, and HP. Well, we were generous and gave it 1. I think we should send this to everybody. But first we need to save it. Where do we go? There we go. So let's save this off once again in the root of the drive so we can find it. We'll just call it, I don't know, compute. And before long, it is saved off. We can go into our email application and send this to the other Compaq LTEs. And what's kind of neat as well is once this is sent, and I'll zoom out here so we can see all of the systems, you can see the message pour into the mailbox when I hit transmit. And there we go. Popped into the mailbox. We'll open this up on a couple of the machines just for fun. And on the far left, it actually didn't pop in because we were in a submenu. And now we can load it up on Harvard Graphics. And there you have it, best computers. I hope you really enjoyed my video on creating a corporate network by surprise. I wish you a very happy December, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.